Hello class, we are learning the distributive rule for polynomials today. Simplifying a product of factors, there are some rules. First, you want to multiply the numerical coefficients, and this is the number that is next to the variable in your expression. The sign of the product is negative if there are an odd number of negative factors. So if I had 3 factors, which is an odd number of -3, and I multiply these together, this would equal a -27. The sign is positive if there are an even number of negative factors, so an even number of factors would be 2. So if I have -3 multiplied 2 times, this would be a +9. Second rule, you multiply the variables, usually writing them in alphabetical order, and then you will use the rules you learned from lesson 8.2 to evaluate the exponents. Let's go over a few examples. So we're going to take out our numerical coefficients and multiply them separately. So 4, let me just erase that, parentheses, 4 times 3 times x to the 4th times x cubed. So if I multiply 4 times 3, this is 12. My bases are the same, and I'm multiplying so I can just add my exponents. 4 plus 3 is 7, so my answer is 12 times x to the 7th power. Okay. So here, let's take out our numerical coefficients. That would be -2 times 5, and then a squared times a cubed, and then b to the 1st power times b cubed. Now let's evaluate this. A negative times a positive is a negative, and I'm multiplying this variable. It's the same base, so all I do is add the exponent, and this would be a to the 5th power. This is b to the 1st plus b to the 3rd, that's 1 plus 3. This is b to the 4th power, so my answer is -10 times a to the 5th power times b to the 4th power. Now I've got 3 different terms here. I'm going to separate my coefficient, my numerical coefficient. So this would be 4 times -3 times -2, and then x times x squared times x cubed, and then my y's, y squared times y to the 4th times y. Okay, so I've got 2 negative numbers. A -3 times -2 is +6 times 4 is 24. And then I've got all of the same bases, so I add my exponents. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6, so that is x to the 6th power. Y, all the same bases here, so all I'm going to do is add. This is 2 plus 4 plus 1, which is 7. My answer is 24 times x to the 6th power times y to the 7th power. Okay. The distributive rule. One property of real numbers combines both addition and multiplication. Consider 3 times 10 plus 1, what's in parentheses. So, to distribute this, we would take the 3 and distribute it to each number in parentheses. So 3 times 10 is 30, plus 3 times 1 is 3, which equals 33. Now, if we were to have just performed what was in parentheses first, we could have done this. 10 plus 1 is 11 times 3 equals 33. We get the same number. So you can see that 3 times 10 plus 1 in parentheses equals 3 times 10 plus 3 times 1. This is the distributive rule where A times parentheses B plus C equals A times B plus A times C. When a factor is multiplied by an expression enclosed within grouping symbols, our grouping symbols are parentheses, brackets, a fraction bar, for example, the factor must be multiplied by each term within the grouping symbols, and then the products are added. Okay, remember they're added, that's the key here. So we need to multiply it by each factor in the expression. So 5 is going to be multiplied by 2 and then by 7, and they're added together. So 5 times 2 plus 5 times 7, this is 10 plus 35, which equals 45. Now, I have 2 times in parentheses x plus y. Let's distribute this 2. 2 times x plus 2 times y. This is 2x plus 2y is my answer. Okay, some more examples. Let's distribute this a times x minus y in parentheses. So I have a times x minus a times y, and this is simply ax minus ay. Okay, now let's distribute this x times x squared plus y. This is x times x squared plus x times y. Now the bases are the same. Remember, when there's not a number, we can assume that that is x to the first power. Let's add those exponents. So 1 plus 2 equals 3. This is x cubed plus xy. Okay, now let's distribute this 3x to what's in parentheses here. 3x times, in parentheses, 4x plus x cubed times y. So 3x times 4x plus 3x times x cubed times y. So this is 12. Remember, my bases are the same, so I'm going to add my exponents. That is x squared plus 3. My bases are the same. I'm going to add my exponents when I'm multiplying. So this is x to the 4th power, and then just y left over. So this is my answer. Okay, next problem. When there are more than 2 terms within the parentheses. Okay, let's do an example where it's a little bit longer. So negative 5a, we're going to multiply it by all 3 terms. Okay, so remember this negative 5, we're going to multiply negative 5a times 4a cubed plus negative 5a times negative 2a squared times b plus negative 5a times b squared. Okay, just be careful that you're writing all your signs correctly. I didn't need to write that squared 2 times. I'll just doodle that out. Okay, so negative 5 times a positive 4 is a negative 20. I'm multiplying these variables that are the same base, so I'm going to add a 1 plus 3. This is a to the 4th power plus negative 5 times a negative 2 is a positive A positive 10, I'm multiplying two numbers with the same base. This is 1 plus 2. This is a cubed. And then we only have this b, so we're going to bring that down. And then a negative 5 times 1, there's nothing to multiply it by. This will be a negative 5. There's nothing to multiply the a by, so we're going to bring that down. And same with the b. This is my final answer. Okay. All right, so example 4, we have 2x minus 5 times 4x. Now we're just going to take this backwards, okay? So this is going to be 4x times negative 5 plus 4x times 2x. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And then we have the x that we're going to bring down. And plus 4 times 2 is 8. We have the same bases, so we're going to add the exponents because we know that this really means x to the first power, this means x to the first power, and 1 plus 1 is 2, so this is x squared. Now, let's work on this one here, where we multiply negative 3xy by negative 5y squared by xy and negative 2x. So let's rewrite this. Negative 3xy times negative 5y squared plus negative 3xy times xy plus negative 3 xy times negative 2x squared. So negative 3 times negative 15 or negative 5 is a positive 15. I don't have another x variable, so it's just going to be x. I've got two y variables here, one to the first power, one to the second power. You add that for y cubed plus, now let's see, negative 3 times a positive 1 is negative 3. And then x times another x, this is x squared. And then same with the y, you add those two variables for y squared plus, now negative 3 times negative 2 is a positive 6. I've got an x to the first power, x to the second power. You add that together and that is x cubed. And then you bring down the y. So my final answer, I've got a negative in here. My final answer is going to look like 15x times y cubed minus 3x squared times y squared plus 6 times x cubed times y. That is my final answer. Okay, let's continue with a few more example problems. Remember, if you see a negative sign without a number, it is implied that there is a 1 in front of it. Okay, so look at this negative right here. It is implied that this is negative 1. So we are going to distribute the negative 1 to the terms inside the parentheses. So this is negative 1 times 2x plus negative 1 times 3. So this will be negative 2x minus 3. Okay, same problem here. We're going to distribute this negative 1. This is a negative 1, which I wrote right here, and we distribute this. So negative 1 times a plus negative 1 times negative b. This is negative a plus b, and that is the answer. Hang tight, one last problem. So we have a negative 1 right here. A negative 1, so let's distribute that to all 3 terms. So negative 1 times 3x squared plus negative 1 times negative 5x plus negative 1 times positive 4. So negative 1 times 3x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative 1 times negative 5x is a positive 5x. And then a negative 1 times positive 4 is a negative 4. So it basically just changed the signs of each term within parentheses. Okay, good luck, guys. Hope you're enjoying this section. Let me know if you have any questions.